What's up, everybody? John here. Today I'm going to be doing a little analysis of the combat system in Spider-Man PS4. First, I'm just going to show you guys the raw run-through without any cuts or any of me talking, just to see how so you can see the combat in one big flowing run. See the speed, the ingenuity, the creativity of the combat system. And then I'll go ahead and I'll chop it up and kind of do a breakdown of it after. So yeah, enjoy.
你觉得不觉得用炸弹令心动更划算？我们都疲劳了，继续留意。
We need some downtime.
蜘蛛侠，他在空中会更危险。等等，不可能！是蜘蛛侠，快看我！蜘蛛侠，干掉他！
I think the new guys have to tag the old guys, and they have to go to their corner. No?
他怎么做到了？
Be honest, you were all waiting next door until I thought I'd won just to be mean, weren't you?
Over a legitimate auto repair business.
Explains where the demons get all their vehicles. Trucks, ambulances.
Exactly. You shut this down, they'll have a tougher time moving around the city unnoticed.
I would hate to see the group text that got you all here! Before we start, let me check the maximum occupancy for this place. MJ, I may have just done the opposite of repair at this repair shop.
Don't worry, I'll get the cops down there. They'll clean things up.
What's up, everybody? So today I'm gonna be looking over some combat from Spider-Man PS4. I'm gonna be doing a slight review of the combat. I'm gonna do a demon warehouse here, or I should say I'm gonna show you some footage from a demon warehouse that I entered. I think it's a good place to start as far as combat goes, or a good place to show, because it's a wide open area. A couple enemy types we can get into, and I think it really shows off the entire combat system as a whole. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to be talking about what I like, what I dislike. There are going to be a couple critiques, and a couple things that I want to see improved in the next games. And I want, however many games they're planning on making, I want more. I love this character and I love this game. This is it's if not one of my favorite games of all time, it's my all-time favorite game. I think this game was awesome. Spider-Man PS4 from 2018. Love the game. I'm going to be doing a swing and traversal analysis in another video coming up pretty soon. So anybody that's watching, keep an eye out for that. So let's get into a little bit more. I'm going to go and do a couple things here before I enter this demon warehouse. So, as you guys can see, I'm entering the demon warehouse here. It's in Harlem. It's in the upper right-hand corner of the map. This is the demon warehouse that I'm actually going in. It's Mr. Negative's gang of evil demons. Interesting about that, I'm actually rereading Spider-Man Brand New Day right now, the Brand New Day series. Mr. Negative is causing havoc. He's one of the villains that spawned in Brand New Day. I love the character of Spider-Man. I dive deep, love reading him, love watching him, obviously. So, anyways, this is where you can find this specific map. Once you beat the game, you can do any of these challenge maps. As you can see to the left of my warehouse here, we got a prison combat map and a Wilson Fisk Kingpin combat map as well. So let's get into some other things. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you guys what I use for my suit abilities. You'll see coming up here. The suit mods. So my first one is a scavenger, meaning finishers generate bonus gadget refills. Then I have the kinetic power cells, which increases the rate of focus, and web attacks that generate more focus. Now, my biggest things and the reason why I have these 3 suit mods is because I think 2 incredibly important, or actually I should say 3 incredibly important things are generating as much focus as possible so I can build up as much finisher as possible. That way, and then when I perform these finishers, finishers are obviously incredibly helpful because you can take down a guy in one shot. It's going to be triangle plus circle. You'll see as I use it in the combat map here in a little bit. But I think it's important to build up as much finisher as possible so you can use them as much as possible. And also, as you can see, one of my suit mods was that I receive a gadget, a web gadget, every time I use a finisher. So I think it's kind of, they go in hand in hand with each other. Build as much focus as possible, so that way, as fast as possible, so that way we can get a finisher, perform finishers, so that way we can get more gadgets. Gadgets are extremely helpful, useful, and fun to use, as you'll see coming up here. I've used these 3 suit mods ever since I beat the game back in 2018. I still use them to this day. I haven't changed them. If anybody knows a more effective, I'm sure there are a more effective combination of 3 suit mods that people have. I prefer these ones. Let me know what suit mods you guys use down below, anybody that's watching this video. So another thing that I'm going to do here is just make sure that I refill all my gadgets with the resupply, because that's my suit power, before I enter the warehouse. Get it all taken care of. Another thing is that I have the anti-Ock Spidey suit on right now. You get this suit at the end of the game, right before the final boss battle with Doc Ock. Peter builds it himself, and I gotta say, I love this suit. I think this costume is absolutely awesome, especially at night. And once again, anybody that's watching this video, if you, for some reason, one day woke up with super spider powers and decided to become a spider-themed superhero, what costume would you rock? I would definitely rock this suit here. I think it looks great. So let's get into it. I think we can jump in. Trip mine's filling up as we speak. Let's get started. Everything is all taken care of. Got all my gadgets. Let's go. Really like the loading screens too. It's a shot of Spidey, diving or swinging. Cool little action shots here that we got. Makes for a nice background. So, first thing that they do, and they do this in all of the... I apologize. They do this in all the maps, no matter if it's a Kingpin or a prison map or Sable or Demon. You come in and you come in unseen, so you can take out the first couple guys like stealthily, so that way you can help yourself out a little bit in that aspect. I do like that I'm actually about to take a few guys out with some stealth here. You guys will be able to see. So, as you can see, I'm using a web wheel and I really do like the web wheel because as far as that goes, it allows you to pick any gadget that you want. I'm going to show off pretty much all of Spidey's gadgets except for maybe a couple. I'm going to try to show off as many as I can here, but I really like the web wheel because when you're using it, it really slows time down, and I think that fits Spider-Man's combat style so well because if you think about it, if you did have reflexes that were 40 times faster than the average person, you were super fast, you had incredible super speed, super agility, things like that, and not even to mention the spider sense. Obviously that's a huge attribute as well. You would see the world like this. If you were fighting guys, everything would seem incredibly slow. So I think it really does a great job in simulating kind of how a fighting experience would be if you had these superpowers. So that's one thing I love about the web wheel. It really slows things down, and it says, okay, how can I make my next move? I'm going to plan my attack. I see enemies here, there. It really kind of mimics Spider-Man's abilities. So I really love that about this, and really hope they continue that in the following games. Hopefully just add to it by adding maybe a couple more web gadgets. Anyways, let's continue. Just crack that guy with a stealth takedown. You can just KO guys with a web strike if they're not looking at you. And now let's get into the basic combat. So I just launched this guy in the air, and launching guys in the air is a great way to kind of get yourself out of harm's way a little bit. If there are a ton of guys around you, being a little bit overwhelming, you launch a guy up in the air by holding square, and you can beat him up in the air. Now, another thing that's great about this is anybody that's in, I don't know exactly the radius, but anybody that's near Spider-Man and the guy that he uppercuts into the air, those guys will get stunned and they won't be able to attack you for a little bit. So let's continue. So I like hitting guys from the back. It's cool. You slide under them by pressing circle. Another thing here is that you're able to pull yourself towards anyone you want by pressing triangle. That's the web strike, and when we do the web strike like that, we build more focus than we normally would having that suit mod that I showed you guys earlier, which is another reason why I think that's very useful. So let's continue. So anytime a guy's on the ground like this, I think it's great that you can just web them right to the ground with an impact web or shoot a bunch of web shots at them, and that'll KO them immediately. Once you can plaster somebody to a wall or the ground, once they're vulnerable, that's that. Shoot your web at them. You can get rid of them. You can beat them up and knock them out that way, or you can use your webs, as you'll see more of. I tried to throw this bin into that, in through the doorway, and I wasn't in the shot to be able to do that. As you can see, I just pulled that bin. Using the use of environment's awesome in this game. You can throw bins, you can throw garbage cans, you can throw even motorcycles at people when you're outside. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun how you can use the environment the way you're able to do. So let's get it going. Another KO strike. Okay, so right there what you just saw is Spider Sense flashed, guy took his shot. I got a perfect dodge here, and when you get a perfect dodge, you build a little bit more focus, but not only that, when you're on the ground, you have the ability to use an instant knockout. So what you do is, and the prompt will come up later, but when you're on the ground and you do a perfect dodge, when somebody that's shooting at you, you're able to press triangle in the direction of the enemy that shot you, and you'll be able to knock them out in one hit. And the thing about that is that when you're in the air, you don't get the same reward. The only thing you get is more focus than you normally would, and I really wish that you could have the same reward of just being able to get a knockout on a guy that shot if you're in the air. I don't think it should make a difference. I think if you get a perfect dodge while you're in the air, you should still be able to knock him out instantly. Oh, you guys will see that in a little bit here. Spidey's got that capo fighting style, swinging around, using his hands as leverages and just swinging his legs around. I think that obviously once again goes back to his fighting style of, being, having that incredible agility, speed. I'd probably fight like that too if I had those abilities. So as you can see, I just throw a web bomb, and what the web bomb does is it hits a guy and it explodes, or it hits a surface and it explodes, and it'll blast a bunch of guys in every which direction. So A bunch of guys just got hit, and I don't know the radius, but it's a pretty big radius. Anybody that's around it's going to get webbed up, and you'll be able to do what you will as them. This guy over here to the right got blasted against this crate, and he is knocked out. So as I'm launching this guy in the air, I understand that he's webbed up, so you can pull guys just like I said before when you shoot an impact web at somebody that's on the ground or next to a wall. I'm going to pull this guy into the ground, and since he's webbed up, he gets automatically KO'd. I think it's an awesome mechanic. So I just got the perfect dodge on the ground. The only reason I didn't get the KO prompt was because of the this box here is in the way. So I'm not able to just go ahead and web strike him because I would run into the box, obviously. It'll come up a little bit later though. Let's go ahead and continue. Yeah, those grenades are nasty. So I just used the concussive blast, which is awesome. It basically just like shoots guys away. So if guys are webbed up and you blast them against a wall, they'll get stuck to the wall and be KO'd. I used that a couple times in this. I just used it there. I think that's really awesome and a creative way to combine a couple gadgets. Throw the fire extinguisher. Okay, so I have an issue here. These finishers, I think the animations look awesome. I think they're a ton of fun to watch. I think, once again, highlight all Spider-Man's abilities. But a big problem I have with these finishers is that when you're performing them, you can't rotate the camera at all. You're watching the animation is frozen as it is. You can't turn the camera and plan your next attack, which I think can be kind of tough sometimes. In this specific finisher, I think Spider-Man's just going to punch this guy in a counterclockwise rotation and knock him out. But once I'm finished, what I would like to be doing during this animation is turning my camera. I'm a little off in the corner here. What I want to do is I want to turn my camera back into the middle of the floor where most of the enemies are, so I can plan my next attack. Or, I think I can select a web gadget while I'm in this animation, but I'd like to say, okay, I'm looking at what I'm looking at. Let's select my next gadget or figure out what guy I'm going to web strike next. You're not able to do that because I can't turn the camera in this animation. In the Batman Arkham games, you're able to. When Batman is going and snapping a guy's limb, anybody that's played the Arkham games, they know that you can switch the camera so you can kind of see, okay, what am I going to do next? Am I going to throw a batarang? Am I going to, strike my next guy? You can plan it out that way. I really wish they adopted this in Spider-Man, and I want them to use that new technique or being able to change the camera when you're doing a finisher in the following games. That would be awesome. See, so as I was just saying, I kind of had, instead of just already knowing what I was going to do, I had to kind of wait for the animation of that finisher to be over and then go ahead and go based purely on reaction from there. Let's continue. Okay, so if you hold triangle down when somebody has a weapon, you can disarm them, and Spider-Man will pull it away from him and he'll be able to throw it in any direction. Off to my right here, you'll see an enemy with a whip, or with whips. These enemies are a huge pain in the ass, and the reason I say that is because not only you can't really shoot any gadgets at them because they're just gonna block it. You can only shoot one gadget at them, and I'll show you guys in a second that I think is the best way to handle fighting these guys. But another thing is that if you're in the air with these whip enemies around, they'll pull you to the ground. So they'll pull you to the ground, you'll take damage. You can't really be in the air against them. So anytime you see these enemies with the whips, just go right ahead and do what I'm gonna do right here in a second. I actually do end up taking this guy's gun and throwing it at the guy with the whip because I think it's the best defense in this situation that I'm in. Let's continue. I'll show you guys the best strategy to take these guys out. So I'm going to shoot a suspension matrix at him, which I think is an awesome weapon. It just floats guys up, as you'll see. The suspension matrix, these guys won't be able to block it. So I think you can shoot a suspension matrix at every enemy in the game. I don't think there's any, other than bosses maybe. Other than that, I think every enemy can be a suspension matrix in this game, every regular enemy at least. So they won't be able to block this. They'll be vulnerable to attacks once you shoot it at them, and I'm going to do that right now. So yeah, so I can just attack him like normal, and he's KO'd. The guys will get pulled into it. You'll be able to attack more from there.
Be honest, you were all waiting next door until I thought I'd won just to be mean, weren't you?
So there it is right there. There's that perfect dodge, and since the guy's in range, and I can go ahead and just take this guy out after the perfect dodge, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Once again, I wish you could do it in the air, but unfortunately you're not able to. I'm going to show you guys something really OP right now. I'm going to shoot a suspension matrix, and then I'm going to pin all these guys to the ground using the trip mines. I'm going to completely deplete my... I'm going to get rid of all my ammo for my trip mines, but it's really funny to watch what happens here. How cool it is to combine some of these gadgets. There's 4 guys down, all plastered right to the floor because I just shot the trip mine at them, and they get stapled to the ground right when you shoot it at them. So that's another great thing to use on the guys with the whips. I didn't use it at the time because I was just striking them, but I'm going to try to do that later on, even though I'm not going to have any. But that's a great strategy for difficult enemies or guys with trip mines. Another thing you can do, or guys with whips, another way you can beat whip enemies is you can take them down with 2 focus meters. I don't think it's worth it. I would rather use up a couple gadgets rather than use my focus meters. That's just the way I look at it, but you gotta do you. Take them out how you want. So I think this is hilarious. MJ is calling Peter right in the middle of this fight. Imagine how that conversation could go like in real life. It's like, "Hey Peter, what's up? How you doing?" "Oh, nothing, MJ. I'm just knocking the shit out of a bunch of these demons here." What about, what are you doing right now? They just have like a casual obviously they're not having a casual conversation. MJ's talking business and about the actual demon warehouses. Peter's going to respond here accordingly, but that would just be funny, just taking a call in the middle of a massive fight when you're fighting a bunch of bad guys. I just find that funny.
Explains where the demons get all their vehicles.
So once again, I'm not able to turn my camera. It'd be great if I could go ahead and look into the middle of the floor so I can plan my next attack. Not able to do so, as I've explained.
Trucks, ambulances.
Exactly. You shut this down, they'll have a tough
I tried to throw that at the guy, it didn't work. So on this point, I'm going to get going up to my trip mine, even though I don't have any, because it's habitual for me to go ahead and just use it for guys that are in the suspension matrix, but I don't have any here, and I'm going to go for it, and it's not going to be available. So I have to think to plan B.
I would hate to see the group text that got you all. So
once again, guys with whips, right when I saw him, suspension matrix, he's up in the air. I'm not actually going to kill him on my first, or knock him out on my first combo here, so it's a pain in the ass. I have to go back and hit him a little bit later, but at least he's vulnerable for now. Yeah, that didn't work. That didn't complete the job. I love the aerial finishers. I think they're so cool.
Hold on! Before we start, let me check the maximum occupancy for
So another
place.
enemies that are a pain in the ass are these guys with the rocket launchers. Take them out immediately. However you do it, shoot an impact web at them, knock them against the wall. I like to use finishers because I like to get them out of there. It only takes one because they're regular enemies just with a rocket launcher. I like to use my finishers on them because I think, once again, they're a giant pain in the ass. When guys shoot rocket launchers at you, it's kind of difficult to predict and dodge the shots, and they also come really fast, and it's kind of hard to react to. So get rid of these guys as soon as you can. There I am looking for my trip mine that I don't have. Another thing, I love the electric web. I just shot the electric web. It electrocuted a bunch of guys around the guy. But I always think about this. Obviously, we know Spider-Man doesn't kill. But it'd be hilarious if some guy had a pre-existing heart condition, and Spidey just shoots an electric web at him and electrocutes the guy, and it sends him into cardiac arrest or something. I think that would be hilarious. Oh shit, what happened? How'd this guy die? Oh, he had a pre-existing heart condition and you electrocuted him. It's oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. I just think that'd be funny. So once again, the web bomb is huge. I just shot this guy in the middle with a web bomb, and it webbed up 5 guys, so now they're going to be much easier to take out. So here's another thing I love. I love being able to take guys that are webbed up and just throw them. like this. I think it's really helpful. You can either throw them against a wall and KO them, or throw them against other enemies. Here, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I was planning my attack, but I was thinking, he's got a shield. He's probably going to block my incoming gadget, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the takedown.
MJ, I may have just done the opposite of repair at this repair shop.
Don't worry, I'll get the cops down there. They'll clean things up.
And that is that. As you can see, lots of demons, lots of criminals webbed up in a little web sack waiting for the authorities as a job done, as Spider-Man is known to do. So yeah, that's the combat. There were several enemies that we didn't see in this particular warehouse, but maybe later on I'll do an analysis on maybe a Sable map, or maybe even a Hammerhead map, because the DLC combat maps are a little bit more challenging. The enemies get a little bit more complicated. It's still incredibly fun, and you can be incredibly intuitive with the combat, as you saw here. So yeah, I like to mix it up. I love to just, sometimes I'll just get bored and say, hey, let's come and play this game and just beat up a bunch of criminals. I actually like this combat system so much that I have a hard time going to other games and playing the combat. That's how much I enjoy this. That's how much fun I think it is. I love the Arkham combat, and I like this about just as much. I think they're about equal in different ways. So that is it. That's the combat. I'm going to do one on the swinging and traversal, getting around the city. That's the other massive aspect of this game. I think like traversal and fighting are the biggest aspects of this game, in terms of gameplay, that is. And I think they're both a blast. So I will be doing an analysis on that as well. Hope everybody enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.